Hi guys. Okay, so we've got Stick and Bongi on top table today. I see Mubin, your hand is up, so you can go with the first question.
Hi, good morning, Coach Stick and Bongi, or good evening, New Zealand. Just Coach Stick, quickly, just how's the preparations gone this week? You know, obviously with Ewan's dad passing away, how's preparations gone this week? Thanks.
Yeah, Mobin, I think we've prepared the best possible way that we can prepare. You know, we're playing a big game against the All Blacks away from home in Auckland, you know. So, yeah, besides Evan's loss, you know, which is also part of our loss, you know, because we are a family, you know, it's very, very sad. And I've had condolences to him and his family. We are really with him. And there's one thing about us as a team, we're always there for each other through tough times, you know. And I know the focus this week is about him and his dad. Also in our camp, we've also lost Jaden's dad also just before we left South Africa, you know. And that's one thing that I must be honest about and say as a team, you know, we're always there to support the guys. And we've done everything in our powers to make sure that we're there for Evan. And that's also the reason why he's playing. You know, he is that he made a choice to play this week, and probably I would like to think that he wants to do it for his dad. You know, and so yeah, once again, we are there 100% behind him to support him as a team, and yeah.
Ati?
Thanks, Zina. Umbuzo wami for wena man-coach one. Bengicela ukubuza coach ukubana ubaluleke kangakanani lo mdlalo for amalungiselelo wenu and ziziphi impendulo enizifuna ukuzibona from abadlali benu.
Athi umdlalo esizawudlala ngomso ubaluleke kakhulu tata, uzukhumbule kaloku uba yonke i-test match esiyidlalayo siyithatha serious because of kaloku ingumdlalo omkhulu. And xa uzodlala ne-All Blacks ngoku away from home, uyabona ngoyena ke umdlalo siyaziyo uba umdlalo omkhulu kakhulu ukuthi siyayazi uba we are trying to ba also si-develop towards the World Cup, sithi make sure siyabuilda towards the World Cup. Kodwa ke umdlalo we-All Blacks ayingumdlalo omncinci uthatha lightly kakhulu, uyabona. So ubalulekile kakhulu lo mdlalo, and I think uyasinatha for i-momentum yethu kuya naku-World Cup kindebe yehlabathi, uyabona. So I think ubaluleke kakhulu lo mdlalo uthatha, and xa sendiwujongile iqela lizawuphumelela i-championship lo mdlalo wangomso, I think uzawudicida loo nto. So siwulungiselele kakuhle kakhulu lo mdlalo ngendlela zonke ezibalulekileyo ukuthi ukhumbule kaloku siye sazise nabanye abadlali phambili kwenzela bazokwazi ukuzilungiselela kakuhle apho baqhele nendlela imoya ezulu yakweli cala. So I think siwulungiselele kakuhle tata, and ubaluleke kakhulu lo mdlalo xa sihlala no-All Blacks. Siyayazi uba ngumdlalo omkhulu kakhulu.
Thanks.
Morning, gents. Hope you're well. Bongi, just wanted to ask you actually, almost tongue in cheek, after a season of 30-hour flights, to Europe and stuff, was a flight to New Zealand a bit less complicated actually? And on a more serious note, how has it felt actually, the jet lag and that type of thing? I almost feel like a throwback to Super Rugby, and that you guys feel a bit, actually almost like delving into the motor memory and sort of like adapting.
Yeah, I must say the flight did give us some flashback to Super Rugby back in New Zealand. But I must say it was smooth sailing all the way here. We came early mornings of Tuesday morning, and we got something to eat, luckily. And then we jumped into bed and prepared for the week's training. And I must say that we've done all our prep, and everybody's aligned, and looking forward to tomorrow.
Sorry, just a quick follow-up, Bongi. Just on that, do you feel almost like this short turnaround actually helps you guys in a sense?
Yeah, I think the short turnaround we've dealt with before. I think the way the management and the coaching staff decided to split the two groups, it was very well planned. And obviously we just here to train, and the management takes care of everything else, which takes a lot of load off the players. And to make sure that we're all fresh and ready to go on game day.
Thank you.
My question was actually asked by Ati, but to the coach, so I'll ask you to Bongi. Bongi, what emphasis have you guys as a group placed on this match? I mean, Coach Stick speaks about the winner of this match could potentially win the rugby championship, but also, and then just on the side note, have you had any conversation with Eben? How easy?
Yeah, I think this game is obviously massive. As Coach Dick said, every other test match that we play is an important game for us, not just as a test, not just for the match itself, but obviously in preparation for the World Cup. But yeah, we don't look further than this game. And yeah, we made sure that we all aligned on the same page, especially with the two groups. And yeah, once we landed, we knew exactly what to do because we all had the game downloaded on our phones, and obviously did our studies. And yeah, I mean, when we arrived here, all the planning was done just to go to the pitch and make sure that we're all on the same page. And regarding to Eben, yeah, I don't think I want to delve into that. I think Eben is a grown man who can answer that by himself.
Kaniso?
Thank you very much. Good evening then, Auckland. Masibulise kuqala. Plastic. Ngidaphela amacawu ndathanda banyaphela lakho icala bani. Plastic couch man. Umnandi kanjani kuba nisibhaqeni kwindawo efana ne-Auckland. Sikhumbule uba amabhokobhoko agqibela kudala manje udlala e-Auckland. I think iminyaka esixhenxe. Baniphosisi ke nakhona ke iziphumo ke Auckland azithanda ngohamba kakuhle. Ibale kanjani ba nibe lapho apho inhliziyo yombhoxo apha eNew Zealand apha ikhoyo.
Kanyiso ibaleka kakhulu tata indaba abasithi sidlala ne-All Blacks, more especially xa udlalela away from home because yazi uba ngumdlalo onzima kakhulu and andinayo experience apha e-Auckland ke neqela le-All Blacks yabona, so yinto entsha apha kuthi namhlanje into entsha apha kum uba siqala udlala ne-All Blacks under experience yam, so lungiselele wena tata lo mdlalo and nebala eli besizadlalela kulo sikwazile nokuyolibona balinjani, which is ipitch inhle kakhulu, imoya ezulu kwakumanzi phakathi evekini. So I think sawulungiselela ngendlela yonke, nemoya ezulu if ayivumi mhlawumbe kumanzi yabona siyilungiselela because iveki yonke silapha kumanzi wena tata. So izoba special for thina, siqale udlala nabo ngapho Wellington, kodwa ke xa silapha e-Auckland ngoku tata sinoko sawuzama senze konke okusemandleni kwethu siguqule izinto tata.
And a quick one for Bongi. Sorry, it's fine. Sorry.
We'll come back to you if we've got time, Kaniso. Stephen?
Okay, no problem.
Thanks, E. Hi, guys. Coach, with the situation in the camp now, is there a feeling that the guys that you guys want to do it for Eben, so to speak? And, you know, obviously a win over the All Blacks is probably the best way in the rugby sense. Or is Eben kind of saying, guys, this is not about me, let's just focus on the game? Or is there that emotional thing of wanting to do it for him?
Stephen, I think from our side with our preps, you know, since we got here, we've prepped like we always do with other test matches, you know, and we knew it's going to be a big task for us to come and play the All Blacks away from home. With Eben's loss, you know, which is very, very sad. Like Bongi said, he doesn't want to go deep on it, but I personally, you know, we just want to be there for Eben. So whatever decision he wants to take with his, with everything that he's going through at the moment, you know, we just want to be there for him. So once again, the gentleman made a decision. He wants to play. He wants to probably honor his dad, you know, with this game. And then you can't ask for any better game than playing against the All Blacks. You know, I think it will be very, very special through what he's going through. You know, us as a team, we're just there for him. So whatever feeling he's got at the moment, we just want to be there. And we are sad with him because it's a big loss also for us to lose, you know, a parent. You know, we are a family as a Springbok team, you know. So once again, we're just going to make sure that we go there and do everything in our powers, as Eben is our captain for the week. So we're always going to try to make sure we perform the best as possible as we can.
Percy?
Thanks so much, Gina. Good morning, good evening, gentlemen. Bongi, can I just ask you, the gentleman next to you, he was very pleased after that match in Pretoria last week. And in fact, he had flowery language about how you guys performed there against Australia. Will it be easy? Will it be difficult for you guys to build onto that on that performance last week against the Wallabies, knowing that you guys are facing a different challenge tomorrow?
Yeah, it's definitely a different challenge. Yeah, Australia was a good start for us, but that we quickly put it behind us because we knew that there's another big challenge coming ahead, which is the All Blacks. So we've put all our energy, all our focus on our preparation this week, and yeah, we're just looking forward to executing tomorrow.
Leighton?
Thank you, Z. Morning, Bongi. Morning, Stick. Bongi, just for you, yeah, speaking on that that Aussie game, what did you guys bring to the side that went over, and what did they in turn give to you in terms of bringing that all together in the build up to this week, if you know what I'm asking?
Yeah, obviously we came at separate times, and the guys who were here the week before us, they obviously told us about the weather here and how the training pitch is and everything. And yeah, I mean, it's been a while since we played in Auckland against New Zealand. And yeah, today captains, we went to the stadium that we're playing at, and obviously we checked out the field and everything. And yeah, it was just us coming together as a squad and preparing together and making sure that we're all aligned.
Craig?
Easy. So, evening, guys. Coach Stick and Bongi. Coach, you guys are often you very much about staying in the now. This team, you're about what's in front of you. You don't really go too far ahead, or that's always been your mantra. But has history been part of the conversation? The Springboks have not won in Auckland since 1937. Is that sort of been something that you use as motivation as well?
Actually, the first time I hear about that history, that the last time we won here, it was then. So you know,
feel free to use.
Yeah, I'll probably. It will be nice and special, you know, for the boys. You know, most especially, like you just mentioned, none of us, even our coaching staff, with Dion and Rasi being one of our parties in our team. You know, so I don't think it will really something. I don't think it was something that was really in our heads. You know, we didn't actually talk a lot about it, but I can guarantee you that we've spoke about playing the All Blacks away from home and how special it is, you know, to be able to win, because majority of us, we were there in 2018 when we won against them in Wellington, you know. So irrespective of you playing them in Auckland or wherever, but when you play away from home in New Zealand against them, it's always tough. And I think that's something that we all live for, you know, to be able to come in New Zealand, play against the All Blacks. We know the history between the two sides, you know. It's something that is massive. So for me, it's not actually about winning against them in Auckland. It's just playing in New Zealand. It's always a tough task, you know. But once again, I think it will be a massive thing for our boys to win, if they can win the game for all of us, you know, and also making sure that we keep on building towards the World Cup.
Thanks.
Dylan? Dylan? Okay. Ashfaq, we'll go to you.
Thanks, Gina. Hi, guys. Bongi, just quickly for you and the pack, what would you say is the biggest challenge tomorrow to overcome against the All Blacks? And Stocker, in terms of it's a World Cup year, I know you obviously want to win on Saturday, but is it difficult to withhold some fire because of the World Cup? You don't want to show your full hand so early in the year.
Yeah, for us as a pack, it's always a massive challenge play against a fully loaded New Zealand pack. We know that they're very good scrummaging team, and obviously the first coach done a lot of work with them. We saw their performance against Argentina last weekend, and we know the challenges ahead of us. And I mean, from our side, we've done all the prep that we need to do, and tomorrow just about making things work.
Yeah, I think regarding us showing our full hand, Ashfaq, I'm not really sure if what that means also, you know, because of you want to play against the All Blacks and you want to win against them. you have to be at your best, irrespective of you showing whatever you stand for and what you're up to towards building towards the World Cup. I think for us, the main thing was just to prep as best as possible to make sure that when we pitch up on the field tomorrow, we perform at our best. So I don't think we're going to hold back on anything. We're just going to make sure that we do everything in our powers to make sure that we win the game against the All Blacks, because it's not going to be easy. Something that is very, very tough. Yeah, but once again, I think we've prepped the best possible way for us to make sure that we win the game tomorrow.
And then, guys, last question for now. If there is a chance a little later, we'll come back to the online questions. Simon, do you get that question?
Thanks, Zina. Good day, gents. Tell us a little bit about the weather conditions and the situation inside the stadium. It's also, according to us and our information, a small stadium, 25,000 people. How will you adapt as far as game plans are concerned if the weather changes and when the weather changes?
Simon, honestly, from my side, the way people spoke about the field before we went there, we were actually surprised when we got into the field, where the pitch is proper. The pitch is like they've got one of the best pitches on the field, and then the stadium itself also, it's a very, very nice stadium, but it's something different to what we normally used to, with these traditional stadiums that we normally play at, but once again, coming from South Africa, we are used to traveling around to welcome, back in our younger days when we used to play juniors, we would play in Brakpan. And, when you travel to Kimberley, it's not one of the friendliest places for you to visit, regarding to the hospitality, So I think we are used to tough fields than what we saw today. So what we saw today from my side, I don't think it's going to have any massive impact on both teams, We just need to make sure that we pitch up on a day and make sure that we perform as best as possible to stand a chance to win the game. And regarding the conditions, it's been wet since we've arrived in New Zealand, and that is something that we've also prepped for. So unfortunately, there's nothing we can control about the weather, and the nice thing is that we are expecting a good weather tomorrow. That's going to be dry, but if it does rain, I don't think it's something that we're not used to. Since we've got here, we've been training under wet conditions, so we will be prepared for the game. But once again, the stadium is an awesome stadium. The pitch is nice. I think I saw the guys also when we were going through our captain's run, the boys really enjoyed the conditions and the pitch there.
Cool. Thank you, guys. We'll take questions from the floor over here, and if there is time, come back to online. Guys,
is this the biggest test for the Boks outside of the World Cup this year?
Say that again.
Is this the biggest test for the Springboks outside of the World Cup this year?
We know the nature of the game between the two teams. We know the history behind it, and last week, if you had to ask me the game against Australia, because we wanted to have a good start, it was one of the biggest games of the season. But once again, I think playing against the All Blacks in Auckland, that's one of the massive biggest games, for everyone to get involved in. So it is one of the biggest games. But once again, like I said to you, when you play the All Blacks away from home, it's something that is massive. I think it's something that majority of us will live for. It's one of those games. When you look back with the results, the good results, you will always talk about it. So it's a very, very massive game. But if you had to say it's the biggest game of the season so far, I think last week was also one of the biggest games.
And Bongi, how does the physicality of the All Blacks rate in terms of other international sides? Are these the toughest tests to play?
Yeah, I think all the international teams are quite physical. I wouldn't pick a team out that is more physical than the other. Rugby is a physical game; it's a contact sport, and the All Blacks always have a massive pack, very good line-out system, and they ball carriers. They've quality ball carriers, and we know there's going to be a tough game, especially with the weather and the type of pitch you're playing on, the type of stadium you're playing at. It's an open stadium, weather can change, and obviously it will affect the game. But it's always tough and physical playing against the All Blacks.
My name's John. I'm the Irish Examiner USA. Just a question. We were able to beat the All Blacks last year playing a very physical frontline game. What type of game are the South Africans looking to bring tomorrow night? Are they going to bring in a back row running game, or are they going to look at using physicality at the front row?
When it comes to test match, I think if you look at the top probably 6 sides in the world rankings, on a day, if any of those teams won't pitch up physically or mentally, and they're not at their best on a day, any team can lose on a day. You just use a reference of Ireland coming to New Zealand, and we know they're not number one team in the world for nothing. Surely they're doing something right. The way they're playing, and once again, we know also as a nation, physicality is part of our DNA. That's something that we don't shy away from it. That we will never try to move away from it. It's part of our DNA. But once again, All Blacks, one of the best teams in the world. They've dominated for years. So no doubt at all that to beat them, you have to make sure that you can stand against them physically, and also being able to handle the high tempo game that they always bring into between the 4 lines. So being physically, I think it's something that you have to be at your best, on the day. So the All Blacks just easily, you don't get those games. So we have to physically pitch up there, and we know very well the task in hand. And I think on the other side also, like I've touched on it, when it comes to the nature of the game they're going to bring with the high tempo game, so we'll also we have to be able to handle that for 80 minutes, because we know the All Blacks, they've got very special and Talia now at wing, and Jordan, we know how dangerous he is if you give him time and space, and Maunga at 10 makes things even tricky, so yeah, I think we're going to have to be at our best to be able to stand a chance to win.
Bongi, how keen are you, with only 9 weeks until the Rugby World Cup, to put in a real statement performance tomorrow night?
Yeah, I think every test game we play for us is always going to be a statement game for us. And yeah, obviously New Zealand, South Africa, it's massive for everyone. I think it's well known all around the world. And yeah, it is going to be a massive game. And I think both teams also want to put up a statement before the World Cup. That's what every international team works hard for, especially in the World Cup, yeah.
And Coach, just one for you. Has leaving Super Rugby been beneficial for South African rugby?
Wow, what a question that we always get. We always get that question. I think from my side, personally, I'm answering this personally from my side. I'm one of those people that always look for positive in any situation that I face in life. Super Rugby is what we knew when we grew up at a young age. I used to watch Super Rugby early mornings when they play away from home, also in New Zealand. It's something that it was part of us when we grew up, but due to the challenges that we had later on in life, with the COVID, none of us knew what COVID was. And all of a sudden we had to go through the pandemic, and the decisions were made. And I have to be honest and say, we've managed to adapt very well to go up north. And is it a positive move for us? It's very, very tough to say, because of, once again, like I said, we grew up admiring Super Rugby because of, if you look at the style of play between the 3 nations that used to play Super Rugby, you've got New Zealand, who's got a massive X factor amongst their teams, and then you've got South African teams that were very physical and tough, and then you've got Australian side that used to run all these different lines and beautiful lines, So yes, on the other side, maybe we've lost something, but I must be honest and say, also going up north, there's also benefits on it. If you look at now how we are adapting conditions, because of our boys now, I mean, they're not that soft anymore when they travel up north and get to the cold, and you hear them complaining a lot. So I think we are adapting very well. I think that's the main thing that I can take from us going up north. We're adapting very well, and the fact that also most of those countries, the most probably will be 2-hour difference, So I don't think it's really that tough for us. But I know one thing for sure, coming up here, it's very tough because of, like Bongi touched on it earlier on, you'll probably get into your room just after 12 midnight, so it's always tough to travel up here. And yeah, but once again, it's always a nice challenge to be able to travel to New Zealand.
Do you miss us though?
Yes, of course. Like I said earlier on, it's something that we grew up at a young age watching, I will never forget the images of back in those days of Joe Rokokoko, the Tana Umagas, Jeff Wilson, those, some of us, even in South Africa, we grew up idolizing those guys, So yeah, there's no ways we can forget about New Zealand rugby. We always admire their players and their style of play also.
And Bongi, you were here the last time the Springboks played the All Blacks. They came down in Wellington. That ended up being a draw. It's a very similar circumstance to this game, a World Cup here, and a lot of talk about not showing your hand, things like that. Does it feel the same this time around?
Jeez, I thought you almost said he was here in 1937.
I wouldn't say similar circumstances because obviously it's Auckland and it's been a while since we have flew down here to play. Every game brings its own challenges. We're playing at a different stadium. It's also going to be in itself a challenge. But I must say we're excited to be back and we're looking forward to the game. Yeah.
Just the year before that, in 2018, you had that 1-for-1 in Wellington. How did that rate in terms of your career? How high up do you put that one?
A win against the All Blacks, I think it will pretty be high up in the list. And everyone's, especially playing for the Springboks, win against the All Blacks will definitely be ranked high up in your career list as a player and as a coach.
Can I just ask, do you feel the gap is getting smaller between the Northern Hemisphere and the Southern Hemisphere teams between the skill level? I mean, with Ireland beating New Zealand, Munster winning the last state championship this year, that gap that used to be quite large must seem like it's getting a lot smaller, given that you've got that experience of playing both against teams in both hemispheres. Is that gap getting smaller?
I have to compliment them. They are actually doing something right. And if you look at the skill set of how Ireland managed to travel to New Zealand and being able to achieve what they've achieved, so surely they're doing something right. I have to compliment them with that. And but once again, All Blacks will always be All Blacks, and South Africa also, I know a lot of people normally criticize the style of play that we normally play, but if you look at the way we are playing currently, and the balance in our game, because of that, it's not a secret. Since 2018, we've always said we want to pick at the right time going towards 2023, and the manner we played last week against Australia, where opportunities were there for us to send the ball wide. And what was special for me is just to see we've got the right tools in place now. We've got a skill set. Be also actually the challenge tomorrow. Both teams, we know All Blacks are a very physical side, but they know how to switch that button on when it's opportunities on for them to go out wide. So I think also we, as a team, also will need to have a good balance in that. I know you're not going to get 10 opportunities against the All Blacks, but when the opportunity comes, you have to be able to convert into points, and make sure that you capitalize from it.
How much does that how much does that annoy you when you hear criticism of the way the Springboks play, that it's one-dimensional? How does it make you feel?
Doesn't bother me anymore because people keep on criticizing. But if you look at our wings and their record, how they keep on scoring tries, you've got a guy like Ketley Arendse now currently, who's probably about 10 tries. After he played only, I think, in 8 games. And Makazole Mapimpi for the past 4 to 5 years, he's been one of the best finishers in the world. You've got guys like Lucanio Am that are one of world-class players at the moment at outside center, but once again, if people don't talk about what you do, that means they really don't respect what you're doing. So the more people they talk, it shows that we are actually doing something right as a team. So that's why I'm saying we don't mind, because once again, a dog doesn't bark at the cat that's standing still.
Next question, guys.
Okay, my name is Martin from Argentina. I just want to ask you both, how was the reaction of the team and the staff when you knew that France was staying? It's not good enough. He's not going to play anymore at his time.
Yeah, Bongs, let me go first because of, I think, same age. Yeah, I'm older than Franz, but even though we played together. Now, listen, the gentleman and his career, there's few that can achieve what he has achieved, and I've got massive respect for Franz Tate. We were so fortunate as a coaching team that he had a chat with us before everything was announced, we had a coaches meeting early in the morning. I think it was on Wednesday, where he actually, before it was released, he spoke to us and how grateful he was with everything that we have done as a team with him, to trust him to be part of our team. And unfortunately, I know it would have been nice for him maybe to have the last World Cup before he retires, but we know injuries are part of the game. I think France at the moment is in a good space. I think he managed to retire in his own terms. That is one thing that I enjoy about a gentleman. He does speak his heart. And once again, I wish him all the best in whatever he decides in life after his rugby career. But I know one thing for sure, he's surely going to farming. So I think he'll be in a good space.
Yeah, no, really for me, watching France in the 2007 World Cup, I was still in high school then. What an amazing player, special talent, and obviously having him as a teammate in 2018 and 2019. What a character in his own way, and also his leadership that he's shown, the way he could just keep the team calm, and the way you could just enjoy his company. Age difference didn't matter. You could just sit with him, have a beer, and have a good laugh. And obviously, when he came onto the field, he showed his professional side and his leadership side, and I think that's the thing I enjoyed about him. He had a good balance about everything that he did, and I wish him all the best with everything forward. And looking forward to chilling with him once again with a cold beer.
Thank you very much. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Yes, everyone.